Before we begin this incredible true story of a mother who never gave up searching for her kidnapped daughter, if you believe that a parent's love can overcome impossible odds, hit that like button now. If you're new here, subscribe and turn on notifications because we share real testimonies of miraculous rescues and divine interventions that restore faith. Share this video with someone who needs to see that God still works miracles in desperate situations. Now let's dive into Amanda's amazing journey of faith, determination, and the rescue that shocked everyone. Miracle. Her 5-year-old vanished for 3 years. What she did next shocked everyone. The Phoenix sun blazed mercilessly as Amanda Rodriguez watched her 5-year-old daughter Emma skip toward the playground at Desert Springs Elementary School. It was March 15th, 2019, a day that would forever divide Amanda's life into before and after. "Mommy, can I go on the big slide?" Emma asked, her brown eyes sparkling with excitement. Her long dark hair bounced in pigtails as she pointed toward the towering red slide that dominated the playground. "Of course, baby, just stay where I can see you," Amanda replied, settling onto a bench with her accounting ledger. As a single mother working as a freelance bookkeeper, she often brought work to Emma's after-school playground time, trying to balance motherhood with making ends meet. Amanda had been raising Emma alone since her ex-boyfriend Daniel left when Emma was 2, claiming he wasn't ready for fatherhood. Since then, it had been just the two of them against the world, a team that Amanda believed nothing could break. The playground buzzed with typical afternoon energy. Children laughed and shouted while parents chatted or scrolled through phones. Amanda looked up frequently to check on Emma, who was making friends with another little girl on the swings. "Emma, 5 more minutes," Amanda called out at 4:30 p.m., knowing they needed to get home for dinner and homework. Emma waved enthusiastically and ran toward the sandbox for one last adventure. Amanda returned to her ledger, calculating expenses for a client's small business. When she looked up again, Emma was gone. At first, Amanda felt only mild concern. Emma was probably behind the jungle gym or in the tunnel slide. But after calling her name 3 times with no response, panic began creeping into Amanda's chest. "Emma! Emma, where are you?" Amanda stood up, scanning the entire playground methodically. She approached the little girl Emma had been playing with. "Sweetie, where did Emma go? The girl with the pigtails?" "She went with the nice man," the child replied innocently. Amanda's blood turned to ice. "What nice man?" "The one who said he knew you. He said Emma's mommy sent him to pick her up." The world began spinning around Amanda as she grabbed the child's shoulders gently. What did this man look like? He was tall and had a baseball cap. He said Emma had to come with him right now. Amanda screamed Emma's name across the playground, causing every parent and child to stop and stare. She ran to the parking lot, desperately scanning for any sign of her daughter or an unfamiliar vehicle. Nothing. Her hands shaking violently, Amanda dialed 911. 911, what's your emergency?" "My daughter. My 5-year-old daughter has been kidnapped from Desert Springs Elementary playground. A man took her. Please, you have to help me." As Amanda gave the dispatcher Emma's description through choking sobs, she had no idea that she was about to begin the longest, most agonizing journey of her life. A journey that would test her faith, break her spirit, and ultimately prove that a mother's love guided by divine intervention can accomplish the impossible. Within minutes, Desert Springs Elementary was swarming with Phoenix police officers and FBI agents. The playground that had been filled with children's laughter was now a crime scene cordoned off with yellow tape. Detective Maria Santos, a veteran investigator with the Phoenix PD's Special Victims Unit, took charge of Amanda's case. Her calm demeanor provided the only stability in Amanda's collapsing world. "Mrs. Rodriguez, I know this is devastating, but I need you to focus. The first few hours are critical," Detective Santos said, sitting across from Amanda in the school's conference room. "It's Miss Rodriguez," Amanda corrected through tears, "and please just find my baby. Tell me about Emma's father, Daniel Martinez, correct? Any recent contact or disputes over custody?" Amanda shook her head. Daniel hasn't seen Emma in 3 years. He moved to California and never looked back. This isn't him. FBI agent Thompson joined them, carrying a tablet with preliminary witness statements. We've interviewed 12 people who were at the playground. The description is consistent. White male, approximately 6 feet tall, wearing a dark baseball cap and jeans. Did anyone see his vehicle? Amanda asked desperately. One witness saw a dark sedan leaving the parking lot around 4:35 p.m., but couldn't make out the license plate, Agent Thompson replied. By 8 p.m., an amber alert had been issued across Arizona. Emma's photo appeared on every smartphone, digital billboard, and television screen in the state. Her innocent smile and sparkling brown eyes stared back from missing child posters that seemed to multiply by the hour. Amanda's small apartment became headquarters for the search effort. Her sister Carmen flew in from Denver, bringing food and emotional support that Amanda couldn't accept. How could she eat when Emma might be hungry somewhere? How could she rest when her baby was crying for her? Amanda, you have to try to sleep, Carmen pleaded at 2 a.m. as Amanda sat on Emma's bed, clutching her daughter's favorite stuffed elephant. What if she's scared? What if she's calling for me and I'm not there? Amanda's voice broke completely. The third day brought both hope and crushing disappointment. A gas station security camera in Flagstaff had captured footage of a man matching the suspect's description with a small girl, but the image was too grainy for positive identification. We're expanding the search to neighboring states, Detective Santos explained during the daily briefing. This could be a trafficking situation, which means Emma might be anywhere by now. The word trafficking hit Amanda like a physical blow. She'd heard horror stories about children sold into unspeakable situations. The thought of Emma experiencing such evil made Amanda physically sick. Week after week, leads poured in from across the country. Every sighting was investigated, every tip followed up. Amanda appeared on local news shows, pleading for Emma's return, her voice growing more desperate with each appearance. Please, she begged during a Channel 12 interview 3 months after the kidnapping, whoever has my daughter, please just bring her home. No questions asked. She needs her mommy. But as summer turned to fall and fall turned to winter, the leads grew cold. The FBI gradually shifted resources to newer cases. Detective Santos still called weekly, but even her optimistic updates couldn't hide the truth. Emma's trail had gone completely cold. On the 6-month anniversary of Emma's disappearance, Amanda received a visit that would change everything. Detective Santos sat in Amanda's living room with an expression Amanda had never seen before: defeat. Amanda, I need to prepare you for the possibility that Emma may never be found. The words, may never be found, echoed in Amanda's mind like a death sentence. She stared at Detective Santos, unable to process what she was hearing. What are you saying? That you're giving up on my daughter? Detective Santos leaned forward, her voice gentle but firm. Amanda, we've followed every lead, investigated every tip. The FBI has expanded the search nationwide, but after 6 months with no credible sightings, no ransom demands, no contact whatsoever, so you just stop looking. Amanda's voice rose to near hysteria. We don't stop. The case remains open, but we have to realistically discuss the probability that Emma... The Detective Santos couldn't finish the sentence. Don't you dare say she's dead, Amanda screamed, jumping to her feet. She's alive. I can feel it. A mother knows. Carmen, who had been listening from the kitchen, rushed in to comfort Amanda. Honey, maybe Detective Santos is right. Maybe it's time to consider that Emma is in a better place now. Amanda whirled around to face her sister. Better place? She's 5 years old. The only place she should be is here, with me. That night, after everyone left, Amanda sat in Emma's room surrounded by untouched toys and unworn clothes. The room still smelled faintly of the strawberry shampoo Emma loved. Amanda had kept everything exactly as it was, convinced her daughter would return. She picked up Emma's favorite book, Goodnight Moon, and began reading aloud to the empty room. a ritual she'd maintained every night since the kidnapping. In the great green room, there was a telephone and a red balloon and a picture of the cow jumping over the moon. Her voice broke as she reached Emma's favorite page. This was where Emma always interrupted to point at the bunny and say, "Look, Mommy, he's just like Mr. Hopper's," referring to her own stuffed rabbit. Amanda's faith, once strong and unwavering, had been crumbling piece by piece. She'd grown up in a devout Catholic family, attending Mass every Sunday with her grandmother. But where was God when Emma was taken? Where were the prayers and miracles everyone promised? "God," she whispered into the darkness, "I've begged you every day for 6 months. I've promised you anything, my life, my soul, everything I have. Why won't you bring her home?" The silence felt deafening. Amanda's accounting business had collapsed. She couldn't concentrate on numbers when her mind was consumed with searching for Emma. Her savings were nearly gone, spent on private investigators, psychics, and chasing leads across multiple states. Her friends had stopped calling. Initially supportive, they'd grown uncomfortable with Amanda's refusal to move forward. Even her church had subtly suggested that perhaps it was time to accept God's will and find peace. "Maybe they're right," Amanda told Carmen during one of their increasingly tense conversations. "Maybe I'm losing my mind, holding on to hope that doesn't exist. Amanda, you're scaring me. You haven't eaten a real meal in weeks. You don't sleep. This isn't what Emma would want for you." "Don't tell me what Emma would want," Amanda snapped. "You don't know her like I do." But deep down, Amanda was beginning to wonder if everyone was right. Maybe she was delusional. Maybe Emma was gone forever, and she was slowly destroying herself by refusing to accept reality. That night, Amanda did something she'd never considered before. She researched moving on after child loss and accepting death of a missing child. As she read about parents who had found peace after giving up hope, Amanda felt something die inside her chest. Maybe it was time to plan Emma's memorial service. 1 year after Emma's disappearance, Amanda found herself standing in St. Catherine's Catholic Church, staring at a poster-sized photo of her daughter's smiling face surrounded by white lilies. The memorial service she'd never wanted to plan had become inevitable, as family and friends insisted she needed closure. Father Martinez, who had baptized Emma 5 years earlier, spoke gently to the congregation of about 50 people. "We gather today not to say goodbye to Emma, but to celebrate the joy she brought to all our lives during her brief time with us." Amanda sat in the front pew, feeling disconnected from her own body. Carmen held her hand while their mother sobbed quietly beside them. The words washed over Amanda like white noise. God's plan, heavenly angels, watching over us from above. None of it made sense. How could God's plan involve a 5-year-old being ripped from her mother's arms? After the service, well-meaning mourners approached Amanda with condolences and advice about healing. Mrs. Peterson from down the street squeezed Amanda's hand and said, "You're young, dear. You can have other children." Amanda wanted to scream that Emma wasn't replaceable, that no other child could fill the Emma-shaped hole in her heart. Instead, she nodded politely and counted the minutes until she could escape. That evening, alone in her apartment, Amanda began the agonizing process of packing Emma's room. Carmen had offered to help, but this was something Amanda needed to do alone. She folded tiny clothes that would never be worn again, packed toys that would never bring laughter, and boxed books that would never be read at bedtime. Each item felt like another small death. When she reached Emma's dresser, Amanda found a drawing tucked behind the mirror, a crayon picture Emma had made weeks before her disappearance. It showed 2 stick figures holding hands under a rainbow, with "Me and Mummy" written in Emma's careful kindergarten handwriting. Amanda collapsed on Emma's bed, clutching the drawing to her chest, and cried until she had no tears left. Over the following months, Amanda's life settled into a numb routine. She took a part-time job at a grocery store, went through the motions of living, and avoided anything that reminded her of Emma. She'd stopped attending church, stopped praying, stopped believing in anything beyond the cold reality of loss. Detective Santos still called occasionally, but the conversations had become shorter and less hopeful. "Any new leads?" Amanda would ask. "We're still working the case," Santos would reply, but they both knew it was mostly paperwork now. Amanda's family worried about her increasing isolation. She'd lost weight, rarely smiled, and seemed to be sleepwalking through life. Carmen suggested therapy, but Amanda refused. What could a therapist tell her that would bring Emma back? On a particularly dark evening in February, almost 2 years after Emma's disappearance, Amanda sat in her empty apartment staring at a bottle of sleeping pills. She'd been saving them one by one, telling herself it was just in case she couldn't sleep. But tonight, the just in case felt more immediate. "I'm sorry, Emma," she whispered to her daughter's photo. "Mommy tried to find you, but I'm too tired to keep going." As Amanda opened the pill bottle, her phone rang. Unknown number. Normally she wouldn't answer, but something compelled her to pick up. "Hello, is this Amanda Rodriguez? Emma Rodriguez's mother?" Amanda's heart stopped. "Yes. Who is this?" "My name is Patricia Williams. I live in a small town in New Mexico, and I think I may have information about your daughter." Amanda dropped the pill bottle, sending white capsules scattering across her kitchen floor. Her hands trembled as she gripped the phone tighter. "What kind of information? Please, tell me everything." "Mrs. Rodriguez, I've been following your daughter's case in the news for 2 years. I live in Roswell, New Mexico, and there's something I need to tell you. Can you come here? I don't want to discuss this over the phone. Is Emma alive? Please, just tell me if my daughter is alive." Patricia's voice was careful, measured. "Mrs. Rodriguez, I work at a diner here in town. About 18 months ago, a man started coming in regularly with a little girl. She looked exactly like the photos of Emma from the missing child posters." Amanda's legs gave out, and she sank to the floor among the scattered pills. "Are you sure? Are you absolutely sure it was her?" The girl had the same dark hair, same brown eyes, but Mrs. Rodriguez, she called the man Daddy, and she seemed different, quieter than a normal child, like she was afraid to speak. "Why didn't you call the police? Why wait until now?" Patricia hesitated. "Because I wasn't completely certain, and the man, he was dangerous. He had connections in this town. But yesterday, something happened that made me realize I couldn't stay silent anymore." "What happened?" "The little girl ran away from him. She came to my diner crying, and when I asked her name, she whispered, 'Emma Rodriguez.' Then she said something that broke my heart. 'I want my real mommy.'" Amanda couldn't breathe. After 2 years of silence, of being told to give up hope, of planning memorial services, Emma was alive and asking for her. "Where is she now? Is she safe?" She's missing again. The man found her at my diner and took her, but Mrs. Rodriguez, I know where they live. I've seen them go to a house on the outskirts of town." Amanda was already moving toward her bedroom, throwing clothes into a bag. "I'm coming to New Mexico right now. Don't call the police yet. What if they spook him and he runs again?" "Mrs. Rodriguez, this is dangerous. This man isn't just a kidnapper. There are other children involved. I think this might be bigger than just Emma." "Other children?" Amanda's heart clenched, thinking of other mothers going through her nightmare. "I've seen at least 3 different children with him over the past year. All young, all frightened." "Mrs. Rodriguez, I think you should call the FBI." Amanda paused her frantic packing. Every instinct screamed at her to jump in her car and drive straight to New Mexico. But Patricia was right. If this man was trafficking multiple children, rushing in alone could endanger Emma and the other kids. "Patricia, I need an address. I'm calling Detective Santos and the FBI right now." After getting the details, Amanda called Detective Santos with shaking fingers. "Detective, I just got a call about Emma. She's alive and she's in Roswell, New Mexico." "Amanda, slow down. Who called you? We get false leads all the time." She knew details that weren't in the news. She said Emma asked for her real mommy and gave her full name. Detective Santos was quiet for a long moment. "Okay, I'm calling the FBI task force immediately. Amanda, do not go to New Mexico alone. If this is legitimate, we need to handle it properly. But what if he moves her again? What if we lose her?" Amanda, if Emma is really there, we'll get her back. But if you go charging in and something goes wrong. Amanda knew the detective was right, but every fiber of her being wanted to drive through the night to reach her daughter. As she waited for the FBI to call back, Amanda knelt beside her bed and prayed for the first time in months. God, if Emma is really alive, please keep her safe until we can get to her. Amanda paced her apartment for hours, waiting for the FBI to call back with their plan. Every minute felt like an eternity, while Emma remained in the hands of her kidnapper just 400 miles away in Roswell. At 2 a.m., Agent Thompson finally called. Amanda, we've coordinated with New Mexico authorities. We'll have surveillance on the location by dawn, but we need to be extremely careful. If this is a trafficking operation, rushing in could endanger multiple children. How long will surveillance take? Emma's been missing for 2 years. I can't wait anymore. We need at least 48 hours to assess the situation, identify all occupants, and plan the safest extraction. I know this is difficult, but difficult, Amanda's voice cracked. My 5-year-old has been tortured for 2 years, and you want me to wait another 2 days? Amanda, if we move too quickly and something goes wrong, we might lose our only chance to save not just Emma, but other children too. Against every maternal instinct, Amanda agreed to wait. But as she tried to sleep that night, her mind raced with horrific possibilities. What if the man moved the children before the FBI acted? What if this was another false lead that would crush her spirit completely? Around 4 a.m., exhaustion finally overcame anxiety, and Amanda fell into a deep sleep. What happened next would change everything. In her dream, Amanda found herself standing in a vast desert landscape under a brilliant starry sky. The silence was profound, broken only by a gentle wind that seemed to whisper her name. Suddenly, a figure appeared before her, a man in simple white robes, with kind eyes that radiated infinite love and compassion. Though she'd never seen him before, Amanda knew instantly who he was. Jesus, she whispered. Amanda, my daughter. I have heard every prayer, every cry, every plea you've offered for Emma. Where is she? Is she safe? Why did you let this happen to her? Jesus stepped closer, his presence filling Amanda with a peace she hadn't felt in 2 years. Emma is alive, and she has never been alone. I have been with her every moment, protecting her spirit even when I couldn't protect her body. But why didn't you stop it? Why didn't you save her from being taken? Because through Emma's rescue, a network of evil will be destroyed, and dozens of other children will be saved. Her suffering has a purpose beyond what you can see. Jesus then showed Amanda a vision that took her breath away. She saw a compound in the desert with multiple buildings, hidden tunnels, and frightened children being kept in terrible conditions. She saw Emma, older now but still recognizably her daughter, comforting younger children and whispering prayers she'd learned from Amanda. Tomorrow night, you must go to Roswell yourself, Jesus instructed. The FBI will move too slowly, and the man will escape with the children. But you, guided by my spirit, will find them. How? I don't know where they are exactly. Jesus touched Amanda's forehead, and suddenly she could see the exact location, a run-down ranch house 15 miles outside Roswell, surrounded by desert scrub and accessible only by a dirt road. You will know the way when the time comes. But Amanda, you must have faith. This rescue will require courage beyond what you think you possess. I'll do anything to save my daughter, not just your daughter, all the children. You are my instrument to break these chains of evil. As the vision faded, Jesus spoke one final time. Remember, perfect love casts out fear. Let your love for Emma guide you, and I will be with you. Amanda woke with tears streaming down her face and a certainty in her heart she hadn't felt since Emma disappeared. She looked at the clock, 6:30 a.m. In 18 hours, she would drive to New Mexico not to wait for the FBI, but to rescue her daughter herself. God had given her a mission, and nothing would stop her from completing it. Amanda spent the day in careful preparation, knowing this might be her only chance to save Emma and the other children. She packed a small bag, withdrew cash from her savings account, and wrote a letter to Carmen explaining her decision. "If something happens to me," she wrote, "know that I died trying to bring Emma home. The FBI has the location in Roswell. Make sure they follow through." At 3 p.m., Agent Thompson called with an update. "Amanda, our surveillance team is in position. We've confirmed multiple individuals at the location, including what appears to be several children. We're planning the operation for tomorrow morning." "Tomorrow morning might be too late," Amanda replied, remembering Jesus' warning about the man escaping. "Amanda, I need your promise that you won't do anything reckless. Let us handle this professionally." Amanda gave him the promise he wanted to hear, but her heart was already committed to the divine mission she'd received. As darkness fell over Phoenix, Amanda began the drive to Roswell. The desert highway stretched endlessly before her, illuminated only by her headlights and the brilliant stars that seemed brighter than usual. During the 4-hour drive, Amanda prayed continuously, asking for strength, guidance, and protection. With each mile, she felt Jesus' presence growing stronger, filling her with supernatural courage. She arrived in Roswell at midnight and drove directly to the location from her vision. The dirt road was exactly where she'd seen it, winding through desert scrub toward a cluster of rundown buildings barely visible in the darkness. Amanda parked half a mile away and approached on foot, her heart pounding but her resolve unwavering. The compound consisted of a main house and 2 smaller outbuildings, with a few dim lights flickering in the windows. As she crept closer, Amanda heard something that nearly brought her to her knees. Children's voices, quiet and frightened, coming from the largest outbuilding. Moving carefully around the perimeter, she found a small window and peered inside. Her breath caught in her throat. There, sitting in a corner with 3 other young children, was Emma. Her daughter had grown taller, her face thinner, but it was unmistakably Emma. She was holding a younger child, whispering something that looked like a prayer. Amanda had to cover her mouth to keep from crying out. Emma was alive, just 20 feet away, after 2 years of separation that had nearly destroyed Amanda's soul. But between Amanda and her daughter were 2 armed men watching the children, and Amanda could see at least 2 more adults in the main house. "Jesus," she whispered, "show me how to save them." As if in answer to her prayer, Amanda noticed something the men hadn't: a loose board at the back of the building where the children were kept. If she could create a distraction to draw the guards away, she might be able to get the children out. Amanda circled to the front of the main house and found an old pickup truck. Following an instinct she couldn't explain, she released the truck's brake and let it roll down the slight incline toward the house, where it crashed into a propane tank with a tremendous bang. "What the hell was that?" she heard a man shout from inside. Both guards ran toward the commotion, leaving the children momentarily unguarded. Amanda sprinted to the loose board and squeezed through into the building. "Emma," she whispered urgently. Her daughter looked up, and for a moment confusion crossed her face. Then recognition dawned, and Emma's eyes filled with tears. "Mommy, is it really you?" "Yes, baby, it's really me. We have to go right now, and we're taking these other children with us." But as they reached the opening, Amanda heard footsteps returning. The guards had discovered the truck incident was a diversion. They were trapped, with no way out and no time left. "Mommy, I knew you'd come," Emma whispered, clinging to Amanda with desperate strength. "I prayed every night that Jesus would bring you to save us." Amanda quickly assessed the other children, a boy about 6, twin girls who couldn't be older than 4, all terrified, but looking to her with hope she prayed she could fulfill. The footsteps were getting closer. Amanda heard angry voices as the men realized the truck crash had been a diversion. "Listen to me," Amanda whispered urgently to all 4 children. "We're going to crawl through this opening, and then we're going to run as fast as we can to my car. Stay together, stay quiet." "But what about the bad men?" the little boy asked, trembling. "God is going to protect us," Amanda replied, surprised by the conviction in her own voice. As they prepared to escape, Amanda heard one of the guards shout, "Check the kids! Someone's been here!" Heavy footsteps approached the building. Amanda's heart pounded as she helped the first twin through the opening, then the second, then the boy. Emma was about to go next when the door burst open. What the... The guard's flashlight beam swept across the room, landing directly on Amanda and Emma. "Run!" Amanda screamed, pushing Emma toward the opening. But before her daughter could escape, rough hands grabbed Amanda and yanked her away from the wall. "Well, well," the man sneered, his breath reeking of alcohol and cigarettes. Mama Bear came looking for her cub. Amanda struggled against his grip, but he was much stronger. Through the window, she could see the 3 children she'd managed to free hiding behind some bushes, too frightened to run without Emma. "Where's the girl?" the second guard demanded, noticing Emma's absence. "She's right." The first guard looked toward the corner where Emma had been sitting, but it was empty. In the chaos, Emma had managed to slip through the opening and join the other children outside. "You're not taking these kids anywhere, lady," the man holding Amanda growled. "You just signed your death warrant." But as he reached for his weapon, something extraordinary happened. A brilliant light filled the building, not from any electrical source, but a pure white radiance that seemed to emanate from everywhere at once. Both guards stumbled backward, shielding their eyes and crying out in confusion and terror. "What is that? What's happening?" one of them shouted. In the supernatural light, Amanda felt an overwhelming presence of protection and power. The same voice she'd heard in her dreams spoke, not audibly but directly to her heart. "Fear not, for I am with you." The guards, completely disoriented by the inexplicable light, released Amanda and stumbled toward the exit, desperate to escape whatever force they couldn't understand. Amanda didn't waste the opportunity. She dove through the opening and found the 4 children huddled together, staring in awe at the building behind her, which continued to glow with divine light. "Come on, babies," Amanda said, scooping up one of the twins while Emma helped the other children. "We're going home." They ran through the desert toward Amanda's car, the supernatural light providing guidance through the darkness. Behind them, Amanda could hear shouting and confusion as more men emerged from the main house, but the light seemed to create a protective barrier around their escape. When they reached the car, Amanda quickly buckled the children into the back seat and started the engine. As they drove away, Emma grabbed her mother's hand from the back seat. "Mommy, did you see the angels?" "What angels, sweetheart?" "The bright angels that scared the bad men away. They were so beautiful, and they told me you were coming to save us." Amanda looked in the rearview mirror at her daughter's face, illuminated by the dashboard lights, and realized that God had been orchestrating this rescue from the very beginning. But their escape was far from over. She needed to get these children to safety and ensure the traffickers were caught before they could harm other children. Amanda drove through the night toward Roswell, the 4 rescued children finally safe in her car, but the danger far from over. She called 911 as soon as she had cell service, her hands shaking as she tried to explain the situation. "911, what's your emergency?" "This is Amanda Rodriguez. I just rescued 4 kidnapped children from a trafficking compound outside Roswell. We need FBI and police immediately at the location I'm about to give you." The dispatcher's voice became urgent. "Ma'am, are you the mother who's been searching for Emma Rodriguez?" "Yes, and I found her. But there's a whole operation here. They're trafficking children. You need to get agents to that compound before they escape." Within minutes, Amanda's phone was ringing with calls from Agent Thompson, Detective Santos, and local New Mexico authorities. The FBI task force that had been planning a morning raid was now scrambling to respond immediately. Amanda drove straight to the Roswell Police Department, where she was met by a team of federal agents, social workers, and medical personnel. The 4 children were taken for medical evaluation, while Amanda gave her statement about the rescue. "Amanda, what you did was incredibly dangerous," Agent Thompson said, though his tone held more admiration than criticism. "How did you know exactly where to find them?" Amanda hesitated, knowing how impossible her answer would sound. "I had a dream. Jesus showed me exactly where they were and told me the FBI raid would be too late." Agent Thompson studied her face carefully. "Amanda, our surveillance had been compromised. We discovered this morning that someone in the local police department was feeding information to the traffickers. They were planning to move the children tonight. Amanda felt goosebumps rise on her arms. The divine warning had been absolutely accurate. The compound you led us to was much larger than we realized, another agent added. We found evidence of at least 15 children who had been held there over the past 3 years. Because of your rescue, we were able to arrest the entire network before they could relocate. As the hours passed, the full scope of what Amanda had stumbled into became clear. The trafficking ring had connections across 4 states, and the rescued evidence was leading to arrests nationwide. But Amanda's focus remained entirely on Emma, who was undergoing medical and psychological evaluation in another room. Mrs. Rodriguez, Dr. Sarah Mitchell, a child psychologist, approached Amanda with a gentle expression. Emma is remarkably resilient for what she's been through. She's been asking for you constantly. Can I see her now? Of course, but I want to prepare you. She's grown up significantly in 2 years. She's been protecting younger children, and she's developed coping mechanisms that might seem unusual. When Amanda finally held Emma in her arms in the hospital room, 2 years of anguish melted away. Her daughter had indeed grown, taller, more serious, but still unmistakably the little girl who had been taken from the playground. "Mommy, I never stopped believing you'd find me," Emma said, her voice carrying a maturity that broke Amanda's heart. "Every night, I prayed for the other kids too. I told them their mommies were looking for them just like you were looking for me. Baby, you were so brave. You helped save those other children. Jesus helped me be brave. He visited me in dreams and told me you were coming. He said I had to take care of the little ones until their families could find them." Amanda realized that while she had been losing her faith, Emma had been growing hers. Her daughter had become a source of strength and hope for other terrified children. "Emma, we're going home now. We're never going to be separated again." "What about Tommy, Maria, and Anna, the other kids who were with us? They're safe too, sweetheart, and we're going to help them find their families, just like Jesus helped me find you." Adil, as Amanda held her daughter, she understood that this rescue was about much more than their reunion. Emma's suffering had prepared her to comfort others, and Amanda's desperate search had uncovered a network of evil that was now being destroyed. Their story of separation and reunion would help heal other broken families and ensure that the trafficking ring could never harm another child. 6 months after the rescue, Amanda stood in the courtroom as the last of the trafficking ring members received their sentences. 23 arrests across 4 states, 15 children reunited with families, and a network of evil permanently destroyed. Emma sat beside her mother, now 8 years old, and slowly healing from her ordeal. The little girl who had been taken from a playground had returned as a young hero whose courage had helped save other children. "Mrs. Rodriguez," the prosecutor approached them after the final sentencing, "I want you to know that your daughter's testimony was crucial in securing these convictions. Her ability to remember details and comfort other child witnesses was extraordinary." Amanda squeezed Emma's hand. Throughout the legal proceedings, Emma had shown remarkable strength, helping younger victims find the courage to speak about their experiences. "Mommy," Emma had said during one difficult day of testimony, "Jesus told me in my dreams that telling the truth would help catch all the bad people. Even when it's scary, we have to be brave." The Rodriguez family had become national symbols of hope and perseverance. Amanda's story of never giving up, guided by divine intervention, had inspired thousands of families with missing children. She now worked with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, sharing her experience and offering hope to other desperate parents. "Emma, do you remember what you want to be when you grow up?" Amanda asked as they walked out of the courthouse for the final time. "I want to help find missing kids, just like you did for me," Emma replied, with the same determination that had helped her survive 2 years of captivity. Their home in Phoenix had been transformed into a sanctuary of healing. Emma's room, which Amanda had packed away in despair, was now filled with new memories being made daily, but it also contained something special. artwork from the other children Emma had comforted during their imprisonment. Mrs. Rodriguez, Dr. Mitchell, Emma's therapist, had explained during a recent session, Emma's natural instinct to protect and comfort others actually helped her psychological survival. She found purpose in caring for younger children, which gave her strength to endure. The other 3 children from the compound had all been successfully reunited with their families. Tommy was back with his parents in Colorado, while twins Maria and Anna had returned to their grandmother in Texas. All 4 children remained in contact, bound together by their shared survival and Emma's leadership during their darkest time. "Mommy," Emma said one evening as Amanda tucked her into bed, "do you think God let me get taken so I could help save the other kids?" Amanda considered the question carefully. "I think God can use even terrible things to create something good. Your bravery saved other children and stopped bad people from hurting more kids. I'm glad I could help them, but I'm more glad to be home with you." "And I'm never letting you out of my sight again," Amanda replied, though she knew she'd eventually have to trust Emma to navigate the world independently. Their story had been featured in documentaries, news specials, and congressional hearings about child trafficking. But for Amanda, the most important audience was the small group of families she now counseled, parents whose children were still missing. "Never give up hope," she told them during support group meetings. "I searched for 3 years and was told to accept that Emma was gone, but God wasn't finished with our story." Standing in their backyard one evening, watching Emma play with the neighborhood children as if nothing had ever happened, Amanda reflected on their impossible journey. The woman who had once planned to end her life with sleeping pills was now dedicating her life to helping others find hope in hopeless situations. The child who had been stolen and traumatized had become a beacon of courage and compassion. "Thank you, Jesus," Amanda whispered as Emma's laughter filled the Arizona evening air. "Thank you for proving that love really can conquer evil, that mothers' hearts guided by divine love can accomplish the impossible." Their miracle had rippled outward, touching countless lives and proving that sometimes our greatest trials become our greatest triumphs when we refuse to surrender to despair. Emma Rodriguez was home, and her family's story of faith, determination, and miraculous rescue would inspire hope for generations to come. Amanda and Emma's story continues today in every missing child who is found, every family that refuses to give up hope, and every parent who chooses faith over fear. But what about your story? Maybe you're watching this facing your own impossible situation, a missing loved one, a crisis that seems hopeless, a prayer that feels unanswered. Amanda wants you to know that the same God who guided her through 3 years of searching and led her to that compound in the desert knows exactly where you are and what you need. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that miracles still happen when we refuse to give up, share it with someone who needs hope today. Like this video if you believe that a parent's love guided by divine intervention can move mountains. Subscribe because we'll continue sharing real testimonies that prove God still works miracles, still answers prayers, and still guides those who trust in Him through their darkest valleys. Remember, never give up. Your breakthrough might be just one prayer, one step, one act of faith away.